going on, guys? Walter with the RC Addiction Vlog, guys. We're back on the bench tonight, and we are working on our Losi Mini Oval car. And you guys have asked me to do videos about this car before. I did an original unboxing of the Mini T that you see above me here in the picture, the box in the picture, and we were gonna do we did like an unboxing of that car when it was brand new, and the reason we bought that car was for these mini oval cars. And if you guys haven't seen these mini oval cars before, I'm going to walk you through this right now on what this is and how you get about getting one of these RC cars, or making this, if you will. um, there's other videos online too that explain how to do this and build the car specifically, and I didn't really want to do that. I really wanted to just highlight what these were, and what the what you're turning that Losi car, that Losi RTR car, into at the end of the day. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first start off with what you would need to purchase. Right, the first thing you need to purchase is either one of the RTR Losi Mini Bs or Mini Ts, and that's the mini buggy or the mini truck or truggy. The You can buy either of those RTR. They sell them in a brushed and a brushless model. They come in two different colorways in both versions. The For most tracks, depending on where you live and what your track's rules are for the oval racing, will depend on, I think, maybe what you want to order, as far as whether it be the brushless RTR out of the box, or the brushed or the brushless, right? Because I get that question quite a bit, like, which one do you buy? And in my original video I did of the unboxing of the Losi Mini T 2.0, I bought the brushed version. And I did that because at the time, A-Main was selling the RTR brushed models for $100 shipped to your doorstep, and you get free shipping for $100 order with A-Main, which is pretty cool. So I went ahead and ordered that because our track already had a specific like motor rule. The And most tracks will. Most of them are going to run some sort of all-in-one brushless uh, system of some sort. Every track's got a little bit different rules and how they go about that. So I mean, you kind of have to read into what your local spot's doing and what their rules are before you decide what you're going to buy. But that's how I went about it. Was my track already had a specific rule for what motor you can run. So I already knew that I had to buy a separate all-in-one ESC and motor combo for to make my car legal to run on the track. And so of course my option, or my thought was, is why not buy the cheapest version, since I have to tear it all out anyways. So that was kind of my thought process for step number one, which is buying a kit. The next part is getting on HackFab's website and talk to your local dealer, because like our local dealer, they're a dealer, they're a HackFab dealer, so it's not something that you have to personally order. A lot of times, depending on your area, your racetrack may already carry the HackFab stuff. You just may not know that because it is such a specific racing version of the RC hobby. So make sure you talk to your local hobby shop. Ask them if they're HackFab dealers. If they are, that's great, because then you can order everything through them and they can walk you through the process and what you need. And I'll put the links to like HackFab's website in the description, but the your local hobby shops can help you too. So make sure you're trying to support them and ask them first before you just go order everything, because there are some things that you won't need that that you kind of get wrapped into buying, and that is another step, another conversation. So you pick your car, right? But then there's also the question of the Losi Mini B Pro Roller. So Losi actually has, because these I you don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they came out with this kit because this version of RCing is so popular and what we have to do to the cars to strip them completely down to make this happen, I believe is why they came out with this car or this kit, if you will. But this is the Mini B Pro Roller chat, and this is just a chassis and clear body, and you do get the wing, but it's a basically rolling chassis of the Losi Mini B. But when you buy the Pro Roller, you get a few upgrades, and I can show you. So a couple of the big upgrades are the 7 millimeter bore aluminum threaded oil fill shocks, which your standard Mini T and Mini B RTR kits would come with oiled fill shocks, but they are plastic threaded and plastic shock tops, or eyelets, if you will. So that's pretty big upgrade, right? I mean, the aluminum shocks can, hold up a lot longer than the plastic ones most of the time, especially when it comes to servicing them a lot. The other big one is the aluminum servo horn. You get the aluminum bell cranks and drag links, but with that, I don't believe you actually need that. I don't know. There's a lot of conversation over the aluminum servo horn and the bell cranks because those particular parts can cause other things to break that wouldn't normally break if you had just used the standard RTR kit that came with the plastic parts. So there's a lot of argument over that, and I'm sure all you mini oval racers out there will probably comment below and tell me all about it. But and then the other big one is the aluminum front pivot block. Um, so when you buy this kit, you're getting all of those upgrades, right? And because you're most of the time, like I said, each track's got their own rule as far as what motors you can run. You're going to have to strip the car down anyways. So there's a couple different ways, but also I don't, and I'll have to drop the link to how much this was, because I don't remember how much the Pro Roller kit is out of the box, or just what this costs versus what the Mini T 2.0 brushed one that I bought was. But I think they're really close. I want to say this is right around like $130, and I paid $100 for the brushed RTR kit. And so there's some, thought there as far as the upgrade you get with the Pro Roller versus what you get with the RTR car. Because like I said, you're really not using much. The chassis, everything gets stripped away from the car. You pretty much are going to use the drivetrain, the, A-arms and the shocks and the shock towers, and then the motor plate. And that's about it. Everything else comes from HackFab pretty much. And so that's kind of step number one, is really figuring out what the rules are, what kit's the best for you to buy, because there are a couple different ways you can go about it. Um, and so once we're done picking the kit, we get the kit, we order our parts from HackFab. HackFab sends us our stuff, and I was going to do a video, you guys, on how to like build the car, but there's already a few of those on YouTube, so I wasn't going to bore you guys with another time lapse of me building a car. So I just figured I'd show you the finished product. And this car, it's about a year old. I did the original unboxing of the Mini T 2.0 RTR car almost a year ago, I think, to date. And I had sent it off to our local mechanic at the Grove Speedway that builds them for us and builds the bodies. And he went right to work on it. I didn't even really drive the Mini T. I did a little bit to make the video and do the review for the unboxing, but that was about it. And it's a great little they're great little cars. They're spunky little boogers. But we put a bigger, I think I'm running, I'll give you guys a look here. So before we dive into the motor. So this is what you kind of end up with, right? Is a sprint car, mini sprint car. And these, the whole kit that you get from HackFab, you can order the bodies from HackFab already done up, not painted. You get it in clear, but they will come like the Lexan will come pre-bent and stuff. We don't do it that way here in Oregon. We have a guy that makes the bodies and kind of does a little bit of West Coast flair to the sprint car body, which we really like, and that's kind of our, that's how we support him and his racetrack is getting some of the parts that he manufactures himself, which is really cool. But this is what you end up with, right? and mine, you have to bear with me, mine's about a year old. It's got a few races on it, so it's not the prettiest, and I've got it stickered up pretty good, obviously, to kind of duplicate a sprint car and what all the sponsorship stickers that you would see on a sprint car. But this kit, I'll give you a quick look at the bottom. It's a full carbon fiber chassis replacement for the sprint car, right? Or for the Mini T or the Mini B, whichever kit you order. And the kit comes with the cage to build the body. Depending on if you order the Lexan body from HackFab, it would come just in clear, ready to go. You just have to assemble it around the cage. And yeah, this is what you end up with. So this is how you access the car once it's built. It pivots off the front bumper, and it just pivots forward for you to be able to work on it, right? And excuse me. For us, we actually make these little Lexan elbows here that come off the top of the front shock tower. That's where we use our mount our transponders for racing. So that's what that piece is for. I don't think will come with the kit. That's something custom that we do to make sure that our transponder reads, because we don't have the like nice loop to drive under. We just have the infrared loop, so you really have to make sure that your transponder has a clear opening through the body, and that's also why there's a hole in the hood here, so the transponder infrared light can go right through it and doesn't have to try and go through the paint. But this is what you end up with, right? And it's a pretty sweet setup. It's got I'm using the Hobbywing the ezrun 18 amp ezrun, and then the Hobbywing ezrun all-in-one brushless system is what I used in the sprint car. I think it's a 6,000 kV if I remember, but if that's not correct, I'll make sure I drop the correct uh, information below. But this is what the car looks like, right? And it is a pretty sweet setup. So we're able to do plenty of mods to this. We've got the hot racing aluminum motor plate. We've got a nice upgraded servo, the Hobbywing ESC. I have my transponder pulled out of this car and my receiver from using the receiver in a different car, but I normally use the one-up receivers, and that would sit right on top of the servo. And as you can notice, I try to keep everything as centered in the chassis as possible, and that just gives me the best balance for adjusting my suspension, because I don't feel like I have to account for anything that is mounted to the chassis, that I can truly make my adjustments based on how the car's feeling, which is just my way of driving. And then normally your battery mount standing up underneath this plate, underneath the on and off switch plate right here. So you would just loosen the screw, you stand the battery up, and then tighten the screw back down, and that's how the battery sits, is right in there. We run, I'll grab it for you, I'll show you. Let me take a look here. Let's see. I have one. That's for the modified. Dang it, I don't think I have one here. Oh, yeah. Right here. So here's what we're running. It's a 2S LiPo 1100 milliamp battery from ProTech. That's what we run in these, and that would mount underneath. I'll show you. That would mount underneath, standing up, like right there. That's where it normally mounts. So, and then that keeps it nice and centered in the center of the chassis as well, makes that weight stand up. I know a lot of guys probably don't think that that's the best setup, but for what I've enjoyed, that's what has worked the best for me. So, but that's just giving you guys a quick look. Now, this is a particular tire as well that we use. We get rid of the Losi Mini B tires or Mini T tires and put on these HackFab tires and wheels. And we do this because this is the most scale looking tire on the market that works with our track setup and the dirt and the conditions that we deal with, right? Everybody's got different setups and different conditions that they're going to drive in as far as the mini oval is concerned. And so this isn't going to be the tire for everybody, but this is what works for us. I run their standard size tires in the rear, and then in the front they have this. I'm going to go ahead and fold the body down for you guys, but then I use their skinny front I really like the skinny fronts. I feel like they steer a little bit better. Some of the racers that race at our local track, that the Grove, they don't run the skinny. Some guys run the wider fronts. They seem to like the way that the cars drive with the wider fronts. I'm not a fan of it. I like the skinnier fronts. The car feels a little bit more twitchy and responsive, which is what I like. I kind of like driving, right on the pipe and giving it that edge. But that is what a HackFab Oval Mini conversion looks like in person now that you've seen it. Mine is, like I said, it's pretty beat up. I should have done this video months and months ago when it was first done and painted and looked all pretty and wasn't dirty. But it's a fun class, guys. Like, I don't know if you guys have done much watching of the mini oval stuff. I know that the 10th scale and bigger, the 8th scale dirt oval RCN has gotten really, really big. I don't. They just had the RC Chili Bowl a couple weeks ago, and it was huge. I couldn't even believe how many racers they had. It took them like, I think, 5 or 6 days to get through the RC race. Like, think about that. Think about how many entries there would have to be, at your local track to take 5 days to get through racing and qualifiers and in heat races. But we have an absolute blast with these things. We usually get anywhere from like 10 to 15 entries at our local track that we race at, and that's because most of us it's a private track. It's an invite only deal too, so it's not like the general public's allowed to go to it. So it is a little bit of a filtered audience as far as who's showing up. But when we do get the bigger crowd there, it is so much fun, guys. Absolutely a blast. We race the sprint cars, and then we also race, which you guys have probably seen before on another video I did recently on the hot racing upgrades for this, but this is the modified version, right? And this is, I'll just go ahead and take this body off so you guys can see it. This car is actually still broken, but this is the modified version. So same thing. Our local mechanic builds these bodies instead of ordering the HackFab ones, which it doesn't matter, tomato. It's just a matter of preference. If you don't have somebody to make those for you, then, or if you don't know how to make them yourselves, then you're probably going to end up ordering the HackFab one. But this is the modified chassis. And I did the Omni version, and Omni just means that it doesn't necessarily always have to be set up for oval, that you can switch it to being an omnidirectional chassis. And you'll see that reference in the titles of the part numbers from HackFab, and they're just referring to that it doesn't have to be a chassis that's always designed to go left. Is that if it did turn back into an on-road vehicle or an on-road body, that you could set it up to go both ways, and that the chassis won't be weighted one way or the other. But they do make both. They make a non omnidirectional and an omni version. So pretty sweet setups. They're almost identical. The only difference is kind of the body mounts. Obviously, for the modified body, it's not connected to the bottom of the chassis like the sprint car is. The sprint car body is really heavy, so it needs something to pivot on that cage, whereas these modified bodies, they don't have a cage. They use a little bit thicker Lexan in the middle to help give the body some rigidity, but they don't have a cage like the sprint car does. So they use body posts just like a normal RC body would. This I will point out though, I did want to try some different things. So when I built this car, I actually went with the Spectrum all-in-one ESC, and I will tell you guys, like, this is probably the more powerful motor in ESC combo compared to the Hobbywing ezrun. Even though they're both the same KVs, both run in the same size batteries, different brand of batteries though. This has let's see, what is this one? Oh, this isn't the same size. This is bigger. This is the 1500 milliamp versus 1100, so it is a little bit more. Still 2S, but this is the Black Series. Give you a quick shot of that. But this motor being the same KV setup as the Hobbywing, this motor and ESC setup are way faster. It's got way more power than the Hobbywing ezrun. The Hobbywing ezrun was my first choice, just because it met all the qualifications of the rules, and I was brand new to the hobby. I didn't know any different. And then after running it and seeing that this Spectrum setup was a little faster, that's what I chose for this car. And I will eventually switch over to that for the sprint car. But yeah, that's just a quick how to. Well, no, I shouldn't even say how to, because I didn't show you nothing. But it is a quick, breakdown, if you will, of what you're looking at, what kind of choices you have to make when it comes to purchasing stuff to be in this part of the racing industry. Um, it's a lot, and so that's why I'm making this video, is to just kind of break that down for you guys. The best part about it is that these cars are very, very durable. It seems like, I mean, we race them in the summertime outdoors, so it is warm. You're not dealing with cold temperatures and your plastic getting cold and getting brittle. So you do have that going for you, for us at least, when we were racing these. But they're durable. Even with the HackFab stuff, you would think that, because it's not truly the Mini B, as strong as it's supposed to be or was built to be, that you're probably going to break some stuff. And I'll tell you, you're not. Like, I put these cars through some hell and back this last summer, and this is actually the one thing I broke, was these knuckles. And I ended up doing the aluminum hot racing ones, and I did a whole video on that. I'll drop the link below for that. But and I need to find my ball stud. I lost the ball stud to it, and I got some more on order. They just haven't shown up yet. But that's, it's amazingly, it amazes me how durable these cars are, for how tiny they are and how fast we push them. And I'll link in some videos at the end of us racing these up at the Grove, because I know you guys will want to see that. And you guys can also watch the video. I did a full montage video of a race day up there, which is super rad. And so make sure you go check that out after this video. And yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions, drop a comment below, shoot me an email. I can help point you in the right direction and give you some tips on what to do or where to go from, or what you're trying to do. But yeah, people have asked me a few times since that original Losi video to do a breakdown on these and kind of how you go about it. And so that I'm finally getting to it. So we appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel. The podcast is now live. We've got episodes going live all the time. So make sure you stay tuned to that. And yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. So we'll see you next time.